Stay curious. Always ask great questions. You do that now, but never lose that, because it's the ability to ask great questions that will dictate your success. Delighted to be at Web Summit in person. What
Finally,
a treat.
2 years later.
Absolutely, and what an honor to be interviewed for Summit Sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, listen, we'll dive right in. We're dying to hear, how the last 2 years have been for you, and we'd love to kind of hear a little bit about what you do at Siegel+Gale.
So at Siegel+Gale, we are a brand strategy, design, and experience firm. Essentially, we are an agency. And for the last, 50 years,
Wow.
we have been helping many of the world's leading companies build their brands. Our ethos is all around simplicity. So we say we help brands unlock the power of simplicity.
I love that. I saw that on your website, and I find the concept of a simple brand very interesting. I'm wondering if you can kind of share with us, from your perspective, what makes a simple brand?
It's a wonderful question because simplicity is often misunderstood. Some people take a very reductive approach to it. On the contrary, the genius of great simplifiers is they know what to leave behind and what to strip away. When I think about it from a definitional standpoint, I reference the many dimensions of simplicity. So to be simple, you must be clear, concise, convenient, useful, but also beautiful. Because if something is clear and lacks beauty, it can be dull. So for a brand to be truly simple, we suggest it must happen at the intersection of clarity and just that little surprise.
It's amazing. I wonder if you can share with us any examples. I know your team was behind the iconic NBA logo redesign. What might have been your favorite kind of simple brand that you've interacted with over the last 2 years?
Well, there have been many wonderful brands, and interestingly enough, you referenced the past 2 years. I would say, Anna, this period has posed a cognitive tax on so many people. We are all harried as consumers, as employees, everyone, as people, and that has put an even greater emphasis and premium, frankly, on simplicity. I've observed that the brands that deliver simpler experiences are being rewarded. They're being rewarded by greater customer loyalty, employee engagement, and in fact, investor valuations. And what is even more intriguing is when you look at those dimensions of simplicity, in this recent period, that one dimension of utility or being useful has been the one that has served us all so well. So when brands start focusing on that simple question, how can I be useful? Suddenly, it's very clarifying.
Yeah, I love that. I suppose, touching on what you said there, looking at the marketing industry, do you think there's going to be, what kind of lasting impact do you think, the COVID-19 pandemic will have over the whole industry?
Well, you ask about the impact of the pandemic on the industry, and I think first about the people in the industry.
Absolutely.
There was a period over the past decade where there was a common conversation around the chief marketing officer or the CMO and whether or not they had a seat at the table.
Yes.
Well, frankly, with the pandemic, that seat has been firmly placed. And the reason is because the marketing officer and the marketing department had a number of key skills that were critical. Number one, the ability to capture the voice of the customer, to have that pulse on that dynamic, ever-changing market. Second skill, of course, is around communications. And in fact, using different media, notably digital transformation. Another reason why the CMO has been very important during this period is their scope has expanded to focus much more beyond just consumer communications, but a much broader set of stakeholders, in particular employees. And I've observed brands really looking inside first and making sure they're taking care of their employees first and foremost. And that trend, if you will, that was ushered in by the pandemic, I would offer that's here to stay. Brands now are realizing that to be authentic, they have to do right by their employees.
What do you think an agency like Siegel+Gale can kind of offer these brands and these big companies versus maybe an in-house marketing team?
I think there is always an opportunity for an elegant mix between in-house capabilities and outsourced agency capabilities. A couple of advantages the agency can bring. Most notably, they work, most of us in agencies, across many different sectors. And your consumers' expectations are not just set by your category. So having an agency that has a broad set of capabilities and broad perspective across industry can be extraordinarily helpful. In the case of Siegel+Gale, we are used in very special circumstances, most often when a company is doing a rebranding. So that can occur as a result of a merger and acquisition or divestiture, an executive change, some scandal or issue that necessitates a rebranding. And that skill set is quite rarefied. So the economics of having branding specialists in-house probably aren't wise versus outsourcing those highly specialized skills. So ultimately, I think it's about peaceful, happy, collaborative coexistence of both in-house capabilities, often to bring ideas to life, and external counsel.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think I've been on both sides, so it sums it up perfectly. Talk to us about, your journey to becoming CMO of Siegel+Gale.
Oh my personal journey. So as the accent probably betrays still, I grew up in Ireland, studied business studies at the University of Ulster in Coleraine, and I immediately went to the US. I started my career in economic development with Enterprise Ireland and then Aircom, working in that era of bringing back call centers to Ireland. I then decided I needed a graduate degree, so I went to the Harvard Business School, got my MBA there, and subsequently I have done tours of duty in practically every marketing function. And now at Siegel+Gale, I lead all of our marketing efforts globally, as well as our new business capabilities. And I love the function. I think if you're a curious person, if you love storytelling, if you like change and transformation, there is probably no better job than to be in marketing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's pretty incredible to be sitting, in Lisbon, two Irish ladies who've both spent some time in New York, and I myself coming back, and you still being there. So it's kind of a credit, I think, as well. We have a Women in Tech program here. We just released our figures this morning. I think it's 50.5% women at Web Summit this year, which we're absolutely thrilled about. When you look back at your journey from all the way through college to kind of gaining experience in all these different areas of marketing, is there any advice you'd give to, maybe a young woman entrepreneur starting out on her journey?
Oh, Anna, so many things I'd like to have known then that I've learned now. The most fundamental of which I think I knew instinctively, and I would give this to an up-and-coming executive of any gender. Stay curious. Always ask great questions. You do that now, but never lose that, because it's the ability to ask great questions that will dictate your success. In terms of what I've found helpful, I think it's a different era now, Anna. I mean, when I graduated over 20 years ago, there were fewer women in every forum. And it was a treat yesterday to be on that plane, flying in from New York, knowing practically everyone was coming to Web Summit, and how many women. And I facilitated and moderated the Panda stage this morning, and the majority of speakers were women. So it's been outstanding. And I can attest to the caliber of these women, the elegance of their thinking, the rigor of their homework and preparation. Just a joy. So congratulations to Web Summit. You've come a long way, and I know many women are very proud to be associated with you, as am I.
That's so lovely to say. I can't think of a better way to wrap things up. So thank you so much, Margaret, for joining us.
Been a pleasure, Anna.
Great.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
You too.
Thank you very much.